Hi students, we have already gone through some kinds of discussion with these a lot of students who have appeared in our slot 1 and some kinds of feedback that we have received. Out of that, one major feedback is as per Erudite and math, wherever students finds a lot of difficulty. Even the sets questions, it was in last 2 years was really difficult in these two sections. But out of that, if you check it out now this year, there are some kinds of changes it has happened, which we need to understand. Now, get here this information, get this LRDI part first. As per the sets and number of questions concerned, we have seen that total number of sets, it has appeared 5 instead of 4 last year. And the sets are of 2 types. 2 number of sets, it is of 5 questions each. Now another 3 number of sets, it was 4 questions each. And as well as total number of questions, it has also changed from last year. It is 2 more. Last year it was 20 and this year 22 questions it has appeared. Number of non-MCQ, that is more or less same. It is 8 to 10 number of non-MCQ questions it has appeared. Level of difficulty, this is one of the important part as per our CAT 24 concern. We can see that level of difficulty is not that much high as compared to our CAT 23. CAT 23, it was definitely too high. Getting some easier or doable set, it was not easy. But this time we have gone through the sets, and some of the sets it was comparatively doable. So students with basic preparation, they can go with 1, 2, even some of the students was at the level of 3 sets they have tried and they have done. So basically the level of difficulty, we can say it would be moderate to difficult. It cannot be said that strictly difficult. And number of questions which a students for getting a very good score, it would be possible around 99 percentile. It would be around 11 to 13 or 14 number of questions. If a students can make with some accuracy, it would be possible. That was the scenario we have seen. Now let us go with the with our math section. Math section, again another very interesting zone, wherever every students try to think of it, that how it was present in our this particular section. We have seen that math question comparatively more easier in compared to last year. Last year it was multi concepts, multi topics, it has appeared. But this year, in compared to that, it is comparatively doable question, straightforward question, even directly formula based question, it has appeared. In case of arithmetic, the questions number, it was definitely very high, close 9 to 11 number of questions it has appeared. In algebra, as usual, 4-5 questions it has appeared. Geometry, it was comparatively 3. Number system, 1 question, and higher math, 1 question. As for the idea, it is the way the questions it has appeared. Wherever arithmetic sections, it was comparatively straightforward, not multi-topic, multi-concept question. So difficulty level is much lower. From each of the chapters of arithmetic, the questions appeared. It is percentage, profit and loss, SICI, ratio proportion, mixture, allegations, average, and time and work, time and distance, everything it was present in this case. And doable questions, it has appeared. Straightforward types. In geometry, one of the question it has appeared wherever just simple, like the diagram, if I consider, it was a square. In that square, there was a triangle present like that as a midpoint connecting. In that particular triangle, what should be the in radius for the triangle? What do we need to do? We need to find out the area of the triangle, and to get this area of the triangle, requirement is all of the sides. And after that, once area is there, we can find it out in radius with this formula, area and semi-perimeter. From that, it was possible. So that was the scenario. A number system question, wherever it was a straightforward remainder type question, 10 to the power 100 divided by 7. What is the remainder? Now, the concept is plus minus 1 concept, and that concept, if you can apply, you can also solve. So, it is less difficult. That is the major point for case of math section concern. Total number of questions, we can see that it is 22. And level of difficulty, we can consider it would be easy to medium. We need to go through the other slots also, and more discussion required, but as of now, we can get like that. Around 10, 11 questions, if a students can make it right, it would be, it looks like it is going more than 97%. So that much is math section concerned. Now I will ask our VRC section, the expert Shagnik will make a discussion. So let's go for this discussion of VRC.
Right then, greetings, Padawans and programs. So all the information is in. You've heard about the second and third sections from Jayanta sir. Let me tell you about the RC. The overall movement of the VA and RC, the first section, is different from the other two sections. Unfortunately, when the other two sections have ramped down on difficulty in comparison to 2023, the VRC section, the first section, has ramped up. So in that case, we have a few core differences. We'll discuss the key differences or the intricacies of the differences. But the overall idea is that this section is, one, a tad more difficult as compared to last year. Second, as I always say, VARC is the most deceptive section of the CAT. So this becomes a tad more deceptive. Hence, there might be a loss of accuracy that has to be factored into the strategy. For the coming shifts, we only have the last shift remaining, shift 3 remaining, but for the coming shift and also for the long term for the next year. In the meantime, if we talk about the RC and VA separately, first off, we see that the passage difficulty was higher compared to last year. The passage length was also higher. So the passages were lengthier as compared to last year. How lengthy is unclear because there is no clear word count available as of right now. Once we get the paper, once we see this, the passages, we'd be able to tell. But it seems like it might have gone to somewhere around maybe 600, 650 words, where earlier the average was 500. The word count, it is expected to be 650 or 600. But it is unclear at the moment. The traditional was 500. Let's keep that in mind to give us perspective. Total number of questions was 16 as before. But the problem here then is that we have a mixing or a jumbling of the questions. Now, earlier, let me explain what that is. Earlier, if I may use this area as a rough area, we had RC 1, 2, 3, and then 4, and then VA questions one at a time. But this year, excuse me for a moment. But this year, this has changed. This year, what has happened is that we have one RC, then some VA questions, then another RC, then some VA questions. So students who are planning on the interspersing strategy. So you take one RC first, then a few VA questions, then RC, then VA questions, so that there's no bleeding effects, so that there's no interjumbling of ideas. There's a break or pause between RCs. They would have faced a much better situation in the CAT itself. They wouldn't have to shuffle between the questions on their own. But those students who were planning on doing the RCs first, I have always held that it's not a very good idea to do the VA first and then RC, because if you bungle up the time management, then the RCs go for a toss, which is a bad idea all through. But if someone was targeting to do RCs first and then VA, they might have to shuffle a bit this time. So that adds a little bit to the difficulty. But that aside, RC, there wasn't much of a change. The difficulty is higher, but the difficulty is higher how? The questions were comparatively harder as compared to CAT 2023. So the overall section, we see that the difficulty of the passages is higher. There's more density, there's more verbosity, there's more word count in all probability. If the initial reports are confirmed, the questions are harder. The questions can be also more deceptive. That we'll have to confirm once we get the paper. But that means that the overall level of difficulty for this section has increased. So this is now a medium to hard section as compared to medium last year. Medium, easy to medium last year, depends on the way you look at the section, but it's a medium to hard this year, which interestingly kind of balances out all of the sections. So we have medium to hard on the VARC, medium to hard on the LR&DI, and medium to hard on the quants. Roughly similar now in terms of the difficulties across the sections. Now, looking at the next aspect of RC, which is what were the passages. Now, I have information on 3 passages. One passage that I was very interested in I found very interesting, but could have been, considering that there was dense language, it could have been significantly complicated, was craftsmen in the AI era. Craftsmen in the AI era. How has AI affected craftsmen, say people who work with content, people who work with say craft or art, or people who are content makers, things like that. How are they affected by AI? Then there was a passage on bandicoot, like a Western bandicoot. Now, a bandicoot is a small rat-like species that is, it's a nature-based, zoology-based passage, so it should have been moderate. And there was one passage on Netflix. Netflix seems to be quite a hot favorite with these guys. Last year, there was a passage overall on Netflix. This year, I've heard that this was about Stranger Things. The science fiction horror TV series, the series Stranger Things, that was the focus. Of course, I'm not sure if Stranger Things was the main focus, the primary idea of the passage, or was it something which is used as an example or an instance, but it was about Netflix. There's one more passage that I'm not absolutely sure about. The commentary that I'd make here is that the passages have become more complicated, so comprehension is now more challenging. So there could be a loss of, as I have said, a loss of accuracy if we do not fully comprehend the passages. So we have to be cautious about that. We have to read the passages slowly, carefully, and make sure that we get the full idea. We understand how difficult, or rather how significant, how valuable the central idea is. The central idea is going